petty criminal Flint Marko, aka William Baker, is accidentally irradiated with sand in an atomic accident, transforming him into the one and only Sandman. Hello guys, and welcome to my review of the Toybiz Ultimate Sandman figure. Stay tuned. So before we have a closer look at the figure, let's take it over to Packaging Guy to take a look at the box. There is no box, you Oh, that's right, yeah. I got him on eBay. Oh well. So, let's take a look at Sandman. So, in the absolute plethora of Sandman figures to choose from, what makes this one so good? Well, just about everything really. I think when it comes to Sandman figures, I always look at them as wasted potential. Companies such as Hasbro really just seem to give us the bare minimum when it comes to them. For example, they seem to be more man than sand. However, the same cannot be said for this figure. So the first thing that you will notice almost instantly is the absolutely amazing texturing of the plastic. Now this is very, very cool. How they've done this, I've no idea, but it's so awesome, and it is practically on every part of his body. They've given him this wonderful grainy texture to really look like he's not a human being, he's just a sand creature that's making himself look like a human being. And they've done an absolutely fantastic job with this. So let's start with the head sculpt. And my god, keep in mind guys that this came out in the early 2000s, I think it was. And Toybiz was a very popular toy company. And this sculpt is absolutely incredible. The level of detail on it is just out of this world. It maintains a sort of animated look, but at the same time having very realistic details in there. Very well painted eyes, nice skin colouring and a nice wash over the top to really accentuate those details. You've got the hair, which maintains that comic book style pattern. Very strange. I don't think you could really get your hair like that in real life. Very, very comically oversized neck. You can tell that this is a very comic book Sandman because of the very over-the-top proportions, which I actually quite like. Very, very buff guy. He's got enormous muscles. You know, I always thought people like Arnold Schwarzenegger would be funny to play the Sandman. Although rumours are John Cena will be playing the Sandman at some point. That's a rumour I heard. Whether it's true or not, they picked a good guy for it because he is this very bulky, muscled guy. So let's take a look at the articulation. You have a full 360 at the head, and then you have very, very far up and down motion. You can look down very far and also look up very far. That's quite a good joint there. No pivot from side to side, sadly, but that's fine. The arms can go right the way up because of this very big joint that it's on. They can also do a 360 at the shoulder, a 360 at the bicep, a double jointed arm which allows him to really show off his muscles. Also a 360 at the wrist, a forward and back ab crunch on the center of the figure, as you can see on the back. Mine sadly is a bit loose, but that's probably due to the age of the figure. Legs can kick forward about 90 degrees and come out extremely far. There also is a rotation at the top of the leg, a double jointed bend on the knee which allows him to bring his leg right the way back, a swivel on the foot, and also forward and back. Also his hands, which I'll get onto now. He has one hand which is a relaxed palm, which has a thumb that can rotate forward and back on a little rotation joint there. And then he also has fingers that can also clench in and out, as well as a forward and back motion on the actual hand. So great, fantastic articulation there. On his right hand, however, it is a fist hand, which has the thumb that can move up and down. So if you want him giving the thumbs up, you can do so. And also his clenched fingers can also move forward and back, as well as the forward and back motion on the hand. So when it comes to articulation, this toy is absolutely incredible, especially when you consider the time that it was made. This must have been groundbreaking back in the early 2000s. I'm pretty sure it was the early 2000s. I hope it's not the late 90s. It's somewhere around about there. So, one thing you may think is, well, aside from the texturing on his body, he's more man than sand at the moment, which is understandable why you would think that, but just hold your horses. So, just taking a quick look at the texturing, you can see it's literally on every part, even on the shoes. Oh, also, I did forget to mention he does have articulation at the bottom there, on the toes, so very unprofessional. On the belt, which oddly enough is part of his shirt. I think that was a bit of a factory mistake, but it's a small gripe really. He has a very sandy bum. No one wants a sandy bum. You ever gotten out the ocean after be swimming and just sat on the sand, you'll know what I'm talking about. It sticks to you like crazy. So I really like how they've gone over him in this kind of slightly beige wash to really sort of make him look a bit sandy. It's most noticeable on the trousers, and also it doesn't show up on camera as much as it does in person. So it does cover the green actually really nicely, and it just, it creates the illusion that he is actually made of sand, which I have to commemorate Toybiz for, because as I said, I just feel like a lot of the Sandman figures that we've been getting in recent years are more man than sand. And I would like to see a toy company go that extra mile to give us a Sandman. I want to see him in his sand form, not just his human form. So, when it comes to his sand form, what does this toy give you? Well, it gives you a ton. In fact, it literally just throws accessories at you. I mean, talk about value for money. This guy has it. And when they say they certainly don't make them like they used to, they ain't kidding. So, to switch out his sand accessories, you simply pop off the hands. As you can see, they slip onto a simple peg joint, which is also what gives them their swivel. And you do the same on that side. I did actually have to sand down this peg with a bit of sandpaper because I could not get some of the accessories on. So that's just a little thing to keep in mind if maybe when you first get him, you can't get the accessories on. Maybe just very gently, if the boil and pop thing isn't working, which is where you just get some boiling water, you hold in a cup, you hold the thing in there, dry it off, and then just try and wiggle it on. If that doesn't work, then you may want to consider just sanding it down ever so slightly, but be very, very careful, guys, because if you sand it down too much, the things won't stay on. So having a look at his sand accessories, we'll go from my worst to best. So the worst one, I think, is this strange kind of clamping claw, and as you can see, it's spring-loaded, so it really does clamp. And I think what this is meant to be used for is to hold your Spiderman figure at once, so it looks like he's actually grabbed him. I love how it maintains the sand texture. The sand texture on these accessories is absolutely incredible. I love the various different shades that they give them. So, because sand isn't all just one colour, it has, bits of greys, bits of brown, bits of beige, and they have included that here. The inside of the clamp, however, though, is just a yellow, but, that's understandable why they couldn't get the texture in there, and it doesn't really bother too much. I love how they really have done their best to try and hide all the mechanisms by including the sand texture everywhere they could. Very, very nice. My next one would probably be the mace, and as much as I love the mace, I just find it so strange that it's curved like that, because when you put it on, it looks kind of strange. But I get that this is how he did look in the comics, I think. As I said, this is more of an animated Sandman than a movie accurate, so to speak. A very nice mace on there, I will say. I Kind of like how it kind of gets slightly thinner as it gets to the mace. Just the sculpt work is absolutely phenomenal. Next up is his hand, which I love, and it also can open and close, which I think is amazing. Like, come on, you know, you would not see this on a toy made today. Well, if you did, you'd have to pay an arm and a leg for it. This was a standard action figure. This was something that you could go into your local comic shop and buy. In America anyway, I'm not sure about here in the UK. But just look at that. It's strange that he has 3 fingers, but I think I know why they've done this. The reason why they've placed the thumb in the center, I suppose, is so you can have it left or right. You know, they give you that option, which is nice, and that's actually very clever. But I personally lean more towards this being the right hand, just because of the size of the fingers. But very, very clever idea. Once again, I love the various shades of colour that they use. You've got those darker bits fading into those lighter bits, and they've even hidden the joint very well by painting it the colour. Very good, but my favourite has to be the axe. I mean, come on. Like this in itself looks like a mini tomahawk. Very, very nice. And as you can see, you've got those sort of layers of sand there, like almost like it's forming. It's going from his wrist and then it starts to form the axe, which I really, really like. I wish the camera would focus it. Yeah, you've got those various different shades. What I have noticed about this figure is it seems to vary between figure to figure what kind of sand you get. Some people's sand is very dark, whereas some others is very light. So I suppose during the production of the figure, they were all individually painted. So, you know, some figures you may get more brown sand, others you might get a very lighter, more yellowy colour. And even the paint on the figure does vary slightly. Like some others might have more of a sand wash and some might have less. But to clip on his accessories, it's very simple. You just clip on, simple enough. And then I think we'll go for the mace on the other one. And then here you are. You have the Sandman battle ready. And I just absolutely love that. I honestly struggle to choose how I want to display this guy, because there's so many awesome ways you can display him. But what I love to do is bring in my super articulated Spider-Man, and yeah, that looks great. I feel like because the Sandman can adjust his size, I can forgive the slight outer scale of it. It just fits in so well, and it really looks like these two figures belong together, even though technically they are years apart and not a part of the same line. Very, very awesome. So, overall, what do I think of this figure? It's brilliant. Honestly, I would say my one complaint about it, and this is quite a major one, is the articulation feels quite lanky. Like the joints just feel a bit clunky and not really as smooth as a toy that you would get today. But that could simply be due to its age and how toys were made back then. It feels very solid. It doesn't feel like it's going to break, but I do worry that excessive play might cause the joints to loosen. So just something to be mindful of if you're thinking of picking this up for your kid, if you can get hold of it, or if you want it just for your collection. I'm sure it will serve you very, very well. Sadly, I noticed there was one on eBay that went for just £10 more than what I paid for this one. Now, I paid 30 quid for this guy. He was out the box, and this was November last year. And I just thought, you know what, screw it, because I want this Sandman figure. It seems to be the best available, you know, the best Sandman figure out of all the ones we've got, although that is up for debate. And I will be reviewing my Diamond Select Sandman figure, which I'll just bring him in at the moment here. I will be reviewing him at some point, so that would be cool. And as I said, there are both positives and negatives about both of these figures, but I just feel like the Toybiz Sandman has something that other Sandman figures don't. He has a very uniqueness, and I think it's that sand texture. Like I said, take away the sand fist here, and this guy just looks like a regular guy. There's nothing about him at all that makes him seem like he's made of sand. But this guy, you really get that, and I think that really just shows you how talented and how dedicated Toybiz were to give us such an amazing product. So if you can find this guy, definitely get him. Try and find him complete. That was really why I bought him, because he came complete. I found so many of them on eBay where they'd only have the human hands, or they'd only have 2 of the sand accessories. So if you can find him complete in or out the box, definitely worth a pickup. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I hope to do more Spider-Man related videos later on down the line, because I love Spider-Man. He is my superhero. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man for the win. He is my favourite, which is why I'm really upset that he's not appearing in the Spider-Man No Way Home, because I love the Sam Raimi trilogy. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please sure to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. So before we get into the sandiness of the figure, let's... Oh, that was terrible. What am I doing? Petty criminal William Baker, aka Flint Marco, is... Oh,